University of Kentucky Extension Office, and have the pleasure of welcoming into studio now for the second part of Tiger Talk, Miss Paulette Gray, and she is here representing. She wears lots of hats in town and the county, but she is here representing Caldwell Igniting Voices. Good morning.
Good morning, Ty. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure to have you back in studio, and let's talk a little bit. There's been a lot of buzz in the community, Facebook, the newspaper, and on the radio here already about Caldwell Igniting Voices, and let's go back and let's just talk about that and what it's all about, and then we'll kind of go into the meat of what's going on as far as the group is concerned.
Okay, so a couple of years ago, grassroots efforts started in the community with some citizens who looked at Caldwell County as a whole and all of the great things that we have going on. And just some conversations started about, what could we do to move our county forward? Looking at the census for the past 2 years, we've had a decline in population, which is a major concern.
Sure.
We're not staying the same. We're actually declining in population. So conversations began about how we could go about finding out, what's going on with that. And fortunately, in speaking with the county executive, Ellen Dunning, and Mayor Danny Beavers, they have been extremely supportive in the effort that this grassroots group has started. So we enlisted the efforts of the University of Kentucky and actually had a process called First Impressions, where some outsiders actually came into the community,
Right.
looked around Caldwell County, went back, and then sent back some information. And one of the things that was so evident with First Impressions is that even though we have a lot of things going on, there's not one thing that truly stands out that really brands or identifies Caldwell County. So that's pretty much where it kind of started. And then from there, we talked about then what can we do? What do we need to do to establish a vision that will help people understand who Caldwell County is and what we stand for. So we started the process working alongside Dr. Lorraine Garkovich from the University of Kentucky. It's the Community Economic Development Initiative of Kentucky, also known as CEDIC. So Dr. Garkovich came in and spoke with us and then actually started the process of training facilitators
Right.
to go out, and then hence Caldwell Igniting Voices began.
Okay. And very recently here within our community, we've had facilitator training.
We have, exactly. As of today, we have 32 trained facilitators that will be available to go out and conduct this process of getting information around 4 questions about our community. They will go to any organization, any club, group, business, church that might be interested in having us.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting because I think Caldwell Igniting Voices is all about getting feedback, not just from this group or that group.
Right.
It's they want opinions and voices to be heard from every part of Caldwell County.
Exactly right. And a lot of times what happens, when we're doing strategic planning, an open meeting might occur, but only 10 people or 20 people show up. So that's not a true representation of the entire
Right.
county. So what we're attempting is to be able to go to every corner of the county. We actually have, thanks to Magistrate Philip Sisk, we're able to get a county map that's divided into the magisterial districts.
Yeah.
So we certainly want to be able to hit every community and invite them, if they can't come, if we can't do it in their community, come to an open forum. And we actually track. We don't, everything is anonymous, but we do look at the demographic information as regards to which magisterial district you're living in.
And there are several ways that you all gather that information. Of course, you've had these facilitator trainings, and that's been for folks that want to actually go out and gather this information, to be trained to do so. You've also presented surveys on social media. I think I've seen them on Facebook, and I don't know whether there are avenues that you've sent those surveys out. And then, of course, you've had the open forums, which is where groups gather together, led by a facilitator to gather this information. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. Trained facilitators. And just a prime example, back on the 30th and 31st of October, we actually have 5 high school seniors who were trained to be facilitators. Taylor Freeman, Sydney Riley, Kristen Stewart, Ben Knight, and Boyce Nichols. So they actually went through the facilitator training process and then went out to the high school and worked with, we think we have about 90 to 95 students who actually went through the open process of answering the questions, communicating in the open forum, our facilitators and scribes track the information and record everything they hear, and then all that information will go back to the University of Kentucky.
And this will be, I guess, compiled within a tremendous database.
Exactly.
And broken down as to where these areas and needs are recognized.
That's exactly correct, Ty. And we're so fortunate to have Dr. Garkovich and the University of Kentucky doing this for us, because all our goal, of course, is 2,000 voices strong. That's what we would like to have from our county. So once this is completed, the goal being by the end of December, 1st of January, that information will go to the University of Kentucky. They will compile it all and then come back and present it to our community in an open meeting. We're encouraging, of course, all interested parties to come out. And one of the things that's really interesting is this is not just a process that Caldwell County is going through. This has occurred all over the exactly all over the state. And Dr. Garkovich has been one of the leaders in training facilitators and gathering the information and then bringing it back. And then just the intensity and the thrill, she says, of individuals being able to find their comments in some of the reports just justifies everything that we're trying to do to make our community better for every one of us.
Yeah, and I certainly, a bunch of graduate students, I'm sure, up there working really hard on all this data. But that's you know, that's part of the learning process. Part of the, you know, those kids that are going to school up there in Dr. Garkovich's department are getting a valuable education as well.
They are.
And compiling this data, and that's what it's all about. We're all in this together. And tell us a little bit more about the high school. That's exciting that you had these students. I think I saw a picture in our Times Leader of them, leading the forums, and some of the students there doing the actual surveys.
Exactly. Along with our 5 high school students, we have 2 teachers, Megan Roberts-Woods and Daniel Kikiko, who are also trained as facilitators. And they've, along with Mrs. Christy Phelps, who's been so generous in allowing us to do this with our students, to go in and sit in and listen to a forum where you have interested students who really have a true voice and a true concern. I was sharing with Allison Van Hooser, one of the comments that came out of it was, Allison Van Hooser is a role model. She's a young person. She shows what you can do if you want to get involved in government. Another comment that was really interesting came from a young man who talked about how he would love to see our government meetings live streamed. He's like, I'm in class. Sometimes I can't get to meetings at night, but I care about what's going on in our community. So all the information that they share, they just like us, they have things that they would like to see. And one of the things that our seniors talked to us about was, a lot of times kids will say, well, I'm never coming back. So they turned the question around to say, what would bring you back to, what would draw you back to our community?
Right. And of course, their perspective is going to be a lot different from, say, a homemakers group, or it could be a church. Those young perspective of what they can do to improve our town and our community are going to be totally different.
In some ways, and in some ways you hear some similar things.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yes.
And that's the neat thing about all this. And the more information and the more voices that are heard, the more on target we can be and where we're going with this.
Exactly. One of the reasons we're actually starting with some organized groups like churches or businesses or organizations is a lot of times people feel more comfortable around people that they know.
Sure.
So they're more willing to share or to answer the questions that are posed. But the open forums will also give them the opportunity to do the same process if they can't get to a specific group or meeting.
What are some of the things going on this week, and as we look at the calendar ahead as far as Caldwell Igniting Voices, what are some of the upcoming events?
So one of the first open forums will take place Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock at Shepherd Street Baptist Church. Then on Monday, which I think is the 13th, we have 3 open forums at City Hall in the Tourism Center. We have one starting at 11 o'clock that will run from 11 to 12. The second one will start at 12:15 to 1, and then we'll have one later in the evening from 6 to 7. So those are all open.
Those are all open, and they're also flexible enough for those that there's 3 of them in different times. If you're interested in attending, maybe you can squeeze in there on your lunch break or right after work and get in there and see what's going on. Tell those that are listening what they can expect at the open forums.
So when you come into an open forum, you sign in not with your name, but just demographic information, your age, gender, and the magisterial district or precinct that in which you live or vote. Then you sit down and basically in 45 minutes to an hour, we answer 4 questions. We actually record the information. So if I'm the individual, I'm actually writing my ideas down, then we share. So we have questions that are surrounding heritage. What is it or what aspects of Caldwell County do you cherish and feel that should be protected or preserved? We look at change. If you could change just one thing in our community to make it a better place to live and work for you and your family, what would you change? We also look at the vision. Imagine Caldwell County as you would like to see it in 10 years. What would be different to make it better? And then action, what do we need to start doing now so that we can get your vision or what you want at Princeton or in Caldwell County, actually the whole county, to be like in the 10 years. So 4 questions. That's all. You're writing them. We share them in the open forum. Our facilitator is totally neutral. And then we have a scribe who is recording the information as well. So once we've completed the process, we gather the information along with anything that we've charted, and we gather that for the University of Kentucky, and they take that information from
And
there.
it's compiled.
Becomes part of the data.
So if I can understand, and I'm sure I'll attend one of these at some point, but as far as you're actually, they actually have a piece of paper to jot down their thoughts on these questions, and then it will be openly discussed and initiated by the facilitator.
By the facilitator. And again, we're not here to judge, nor are our participants to judge. We're just sharing ideas. A lot of times things might come up. We had a situation on Saturday where some things came up, we want, about, let's say, for example, what if it was about a hotel, and kind of you want to make sure that you stay focused and on topic. So we always have a parking lot that we put ideas that need further discussion to the side. And then once the process is completed, if we have time, we go back to the parking lot and revisit. Exactly.
So the facilitator is there to try to keep everybody on task and stay to those topics.
Exactly right.
So,
exactly
and
right.
there's nothing to be offended over, but there's a certain targeted part of the information that you're needing.
Exactly.
Lots of ideas might come out from the discussion, but then those might need to be set on the sidelines just for a bit, potentially, to come back and just stay focused on those main questions.
Exactly right. And Ty, we always establish, one of the first things we do as a facilitator is just to establish the ground rules. We're here to gather information. Everybody's idea is important and welcomed. We do not judge. So it's not
a right or wrong answer.
It's not a right or wrong answer. And that we will stay to that. And every idea we ask for, you might have 7, but we want 1 so that everybody gets a chance. And if we have more time to go around, we will do that. But we have a specific timeline that we follow to get the information, because we know how valuable our time is, and so we don't want it to be a drawn out process. We go in, and our goal is to be out in 50 minutes to an hour.
So 45 minutes to an hour, you're pretty much done and out of there.
You're pretty much completed.
And I guarantee you walk out there and go, wow.
Right.
Man, what just happened there?
Yes. One of the reasons we chart, too, is because sometimes as we're discussing, and you might say something that causes me to think of something else. So it's like a springboard of information, too. And, for those people that can't come out, we also have the online survey.
Yeah.
So just really interested. Some of our students took part in the survey. We actually invited our entire Caldwell County school staff to participate in the surveys as well. So that information is on our Facebook page. It's in the newspaper, and hopefully you'll put on your webpage as well.
Of course, yeah.
Exactly.
It's fantastic, really. It's exciting to see how many people and how many ideas we might get from this action.
Right.
Really,
it is.
So as we head forward this week, again, we mentioned the open forum at Shepherd. Where is Shepherd Street Baptist Church exactly? Do you know the address?
It is. It's 500 Green Street, 500 West Green. It's on the corner of Green Street and Donovan Street.
That's okay. That's what I was thinking. It's the right there on the main drag.
Exactly right.
Yeah, and there's plenty of room there, and it's a good place for people to come and gather and be heard.
Exactly.
And that is Sunday at 1:00.
Right.
And that will be an open forum.
An open forum for anyone to attend.
There'll be a facilitator there.
Yes, exactly. And depending on the number of participants, sometimes we divide and we might have to break up. And the same thing that will happen on Monday as we do the 3 different open forums at City Hall or the Tourism Center. we're looking. We don't have any way of anticipating the number that might come, so
Right.
we will be prepared if we need to divide.
So
groups.
we've got. We're pretty much through with the facilitator training. We feel like we have plenty of facilitators.
We have plenty of
Yeah,
facilitators,
that's
but if
good.
anyone ever wants to be trained, if they see the process and say that they'd like to be a part of it, we certainly will take care of that
Because
and get
they
them
might
trained.
be able to go out
Yes.
somewhere instead of getting people to come.
Exactly.
They can
They can
facilitate
go
at
out.
their place.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. Exactly.
Yeah, and that might be something that says, "Hey, I got an idea," and then they just sort of
Right.
take the initiative and say, "Hey, group, let's do this."
Exactly. One of the ones that a group that I just forgot about as well is Ashley White is going to do an open forum, not an open forum, but a group forum with a group of homemakers tomorrow on the 9th.
Yeah.
So
I think
she'll be
Joni just
doing that
mentioned
at
that.
9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we're excited about that as well.
Well, good deal. And so this is exciting. So if I missed it, the information is going to be compiled toward the end to the beginning of the year. And,
Yeah,
and,
right.
this process will be through this part of it.
Yes, the actual gathering of the data will take place through the end of December, 1st of January. We'll turn off. Of course, she's gathering it as we're
Correct.
completing
It's-
it. We're sending it.
it's just going up,
exactly.
yeah.
So then, when the report is complete, Dr. Garkovich will come back and share that information, and we'll have definitely
the
advertise
public,
that
yeah.
so the public will be able to attend, or hopefully you can live stream it. Just whatever we can do
Yeah.
to share that information, and then the goal and the vision is to have the city and the county government, along with all of our civic organizations, work together to accomplish a common vision.
Right.
If there are two things that stand out right away, then to be on the same page would be fantastic.
Right. And when can we anticipate this potentially happening? Sometime in the spring?
I would say in
probably?
the spring. We've talked about that at the very beginning, so I'm assuming around.
And I know it's hard.
It
at
is
this
very
point,
hard.
but,
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. So again, our goal is 2,000 voices strong. We're over 200 right now, so we're at 10%. Really excited
Wow.
about that.
Yeah, it's off to a good start.
We are off to a great start, but we do encourage all adults and any students that are in high school to be a part of the process.
Okay, and it is Caldwell Igniting Voices. You
Mm-hmm.
might see things in the Times Leader about it. You'll hear things on the news about it. That's what it is. It is a grassroots effort to get your voice, for you to be heard, and it's going on here in the county. There will be different open forums guided by facilitators here, there, in different places. So be looking out if you want to participate. Get in touch with somebody and call Igniting Voices. You can get in touch with Miss Paulette. You
Sure,
can get in touch
yes.
with Janie
Janie
Tomic.
Tomic, exactly.
They're sort of leading this effort, and there are others well
Right,
involved now.
exactly.
And if you hear about it and are interested, and then of course be checking our Facebook page and listening to our news, because we'll have that out, and also check the Times Leader out, because you can get the information out there if you're interested in it, because it's here in the county. So anything else we missed, Ms. Gray?
Well, just the last thing, we are currently about to complete our editing of our brochures that are going to be out in the community and at different businesses and locations. So a person can pick that up and kind of get the gist of what we're trying to do. Also on it will be the questions, and they
Okay.
can ponder that before they actually attend a meeting or complete the survey.
And where can they find this survey online? You've got a Facebook page, don't
Yes,
you?
we do have a
Yeah.
Facebook page, and I have the address too. And I know it's hard sometimes for people to write
Yeah.
that down, but it is on our Facebook page, and it's at https:// www.surveymonkey.com/r/xtxfq8q.
Okay, somebody's writing this
Yeah,
down,
I'm
I know,
sure.
somewhere.
But if not,
Don't be doing it while you're driving.
No, don't do that. But we will have it on our Facebook page.
Yeah, and we'll try to put it on ours as well,
Yes.
just so you can get to it, because that's the survey.
Right, it is.
Now, if they do this survey,
Right.
and are they through?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. You only need to give your input one time.
You don't have to
so
come to
you
an open
don't
forum.
come to an open. You do one or the other.
And that's what's great about this,
Right.
Because if you can't make an open forum time, or you're like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go out in the crowd, or I've got a cold, I don't feel good, I don't want to make anybody sick,
Right.
you can sit on your phone
Mm-hmm.
in the privacy of your own home and give this information, because,
Exactly.
and let your voice be heard.
Exactly. Mrs. Woods at the high school, of course, she's so technologically advanced, but one of the ways that she did it with one of her classes, they all had Chromebooks, and she actually went through the facilitation process. So she asked the questions, they had the communication, but they actually did it on survey as well. So they actually combined the two. which still got the same information, but their voices were heard and the ideas were shared.
Is there any plan to have every one of those high school kids do that survey?
It would be great to do that.
It seems like
yes.
It could be done out there. I don't know. I mean, I'm just speaking off the top of my head here, but it would be interesting to get every kid out there to fill that.
It would be
out.
fantastic if we could do that. Exactly.
That's 700 kids
yes,
out there.
Exactly.
Right?
About 700.
Now, again, their perspective won't be quite from an adult perspective, but still, they have concerns and voices, and they're the future.
Yes, they do. Exactly right.
So
they are the future of Caldwell County.
They're
You're
the
right.
So it'd be interesting to get their perspective on all these, and I would think maybe they can figure out a way to get that done.
Well,
that's
right.
That's a long way toward 2000.
We could work toward that. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Well, I mean, stuff rolls off the top of my head, and I'm probably somebody's going, "Oh my gosh."
Well, no, because I know at lunch, during lunch, they are able to have technology during lunch.
Yeah.
So that might be something Mrs. Phelps will allow us to scroll across the television sets that are in there, the website, and then they could log in and do it.
And in a way, and they might can just get something at the end of class. Somebody said, "Go to this website and just do it like that." It's that simple. Now, the burden will be on them,
right?
But it would be.
But
nice
the opportunity will be provided.
Would at least be presented there. So,
exactly.
But what an awesome concept! Thank you and Ms. Tomic and all those involved in getting this initiative up and running. I know there's lots of people probably involved behind the scenes.
Oh, there are tons of people
with this effort.
Exactly right, and can't say enough about Ms. Janie Tomic. She is outstanding. She
gets something on her mind. She gets it done,
and she does a fantastic job with it.
Yeah.
She really does,
and that's a compliment.
It is a compliment.
And you as well.
Well, thank you.
You are like you said, you're not in our school system. You retired, but you can't. If you have a love for this community. You don't ever retire, do you?
Exactly, you do not.
You just keep working.
You sure do.
You work with community disciples. Your many years in our school system. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
And lots of good folks out there working to make our community a better place, and we appreciate that.
Well, thank you. Thank you again for having us.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, it's Caldwell Igniting Voices. The buzz is that, and be looking for them. They're open forums that are coming up again Sunday at the Shepherd Street Baptist Church, corner of West Green and Donovan Streets, and then of course on Monday, and those are going to be at City Hall.
Right.
And there are 3 different times. There is 11 to 12, 12:15 to 1, and 6 to 7. Yes. I do believe. And be looking for the survey. If you don't want to go out to the open forum, and get in the crowd. If I pull into certain places and I see a crowd. I'm not going in there right now. But just do it in the privacy of your home on Facebook or wherever you see the survey. So, thank you all so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, that's going to wrap up this edition of Tiger Talk at 8:49. We certainly appreciate Ms. Paulette Gray and her efforts and the group Caldwell Igniting Voices. Be on the lookout for that and participate, folks. It's a good thing to do. Thank you also to Joni Phelps, who started off our Tiger Talk today with our extension program. That is every Wednesday. We're about 10 minutes away from 9 o'clock. Thanks to everybody for listening to Tiger Talk, and if you missed it or just on the tail end of it, we'll upload that to our website, WPKYonline.com. Have a good day, everybody. Hancock's Neighborhood Market on Commerce Street in Cadiz is the place to shop for delicious homemade goodness.